Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Diddygate coverage. I am here with It's Kim now. It's working, and we are officially on verdict watch. Woo! This Diddy trial is now wrapped up officially. The judge gave the deliberation instructions to the jury. We're going to go through a little bit of that, talk about some of our opinions, and we're going to sit here and wait a little bit. We'll be on and off, I guess. We'll see. Do you guys really want us on all day? I figured you just want us when we have a answer. I assume they'll give the media attention when the verdict's coming in. So unclear how quick this will be. If it's going to be long, Kim, short. I still stand by if it's a short deliberation, bad news for Diddy. If it's longer, we should get worried. So we shall see. I would be shocked if they come back today. It's still early. It's possible if they came back tonight. But if they do come back tonight, I think he's done, Kim. But I suspect they're going to come back at least tomorrow. I would bet tomorrow we'll have a verdict. That's my guess. What are your thoughts before we get into the instructions? What do you think this jury is going to do now? Hearing both sides, hearing that Diddy didn't really defend himself. How long do you think this jury is going to deliberate?
I think we're going to have a verdict before the end of Wednesday. We're going to get into what was said this morning at the hearing to do with the jury instructions and what the judge told everybody. But one thing that he did, I'll do a spoiler alert before we get to it, is that the jurors are allowed to stay late. Their schedule is now up to them. Essentially, the judge said, we're going to give you meals, all that type of stuff, but you guys decide when you come in, you guys decide when you leave, essentially, it sounds like. So I could see it be kind of one of these situations where they might stay late one night so that in the morning they're like, we're ready to go. Let's do the verdict. Because I don't know if it's like they can still come into the courthouse like the public can or not, but the jury can stay. So because they're not as stuck with the normal time constraints, I could see this moving maybe a bit faster. Like if I was on this jury, I would probably be like, I'm going to stay here till 7 tonight. I want to get through as much of this as we can so that we can make this decision as quickly as possible, because I have been stuck in this courtroom for the past 7 weeks having to sit here and go over all of this. And the sooner I can get out of here, the better. So I could see that happening, but we'll never know. The other thing is the courthouse is closed on Thursday and Friday for the day before Independence Day and Independence Day. So if they don't make it by Wednesday, it means we're looking next Monday into jury watch continuing, which is not what the government really wanted. They really wanted this taken care of by the 4th of July.
Yeah, and I'm confident they'll get it done by then. I really do think so. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, that's a red flag that someone in there is fighting on Diddy's behalf, and this is going to be a mess. That's my guess. I'm with you. The news to me was they can stay late because clearly the judge is trying to encourage them to like get it done this week. You guys tell us. And you're right. I bet you a lot of them are just like, can we please? It's interesting, jury deliberations, all this, because now they get to finally speak. They haven't been able to speak to each other or do anything this entire time. So to be able to be a fly on the wall, to go back in that jury room, and for the first time now you get to all sort of do it. And like 12 Angry Men style, sometimes they'll, put your verdict in a hat, like vote and put it in the hat. Let's see where we stand right now. Sometimes they do it right away, Kim, depending on how it all goes, right? Just to sort of get a gauge of how long are we going to be here? Are we all on the same page? Are we not? Are we, do people need to go break off and do their own things? Do you want to hammer it out with each other? It's a fascinating process where these, is it 12? It is 12, right?
I believe so, yes.
Where these 12 individuals.
Yes, the alternates are no longer in with the jury at this time. The information to contact them has been given to the judge. If they have an issue with one of the jurors, the juror can be replaced. There were some instructions given as far as like, you guys shouldn't be communicating with anybody outside. You shouldn't be looking at social media. Your notes are your notes. That's it, And so there's those types of things. So I could see if there is somebody who is maybe doing something that they shouldn't do, the judge has basically said, tattle on them all, tell me immediately, and we will get them out of here and we'll bring somebody else in. So, I mean, I could see that happening, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be interesting as they move forward, the way that this is going to work in the negotiations that they have. Because, I mean, as much as I want to believe that the jury has not seen anything from the public to do with this case, that would be a very tall order, in all honesty.
Well, so the charges that they are facing, that Diddy is facing, just to remind, right? Count 1, racketeering enterprise from 2004 to 2024. Count 2, ST of SMEX trafficking of Cassie from 2009 to 2018. Count 3, transporting individuals, including but not limited to Cassie, for the purpose of adult working. Count 4, SMEX trafficking again of Jane from 2019 and 2024. And then count 5, transporting individuals, including but not limited to Cassie, for the purposes of...
It should be to Jane. Sorry, that's a typo.
Sorry, Jane, of adult work. That's Jane. Each juror on the main panel will keep a copy of the complex and lengthy instructions for deliberations. But these are the 5 counts that he's facing. Now, the RICO one, right? That's where we went through. They only need 2 of those things that are happening throughout that. That's part of it, which some still speculate whether that'll get found, right? Count, that'll be in there. But to me, they got that. She did a very good job doing that, Kim, and and then it comes down to like counts 3 and 5. I don't know how you can dispute them because they did. They absolutely did. Counts 2 and 5 are like no brainers. So I'd be very shocked how they're going to get out of that. The question is going to come down to, do they believe Cassie and Jane were SMEX trafficked is going to be the debate. If there's any debate in that room, Kim, my bet is that's going to be the big debate. Some might argue I'm sold, but some may not be as sold. And so that and the RICO to me are going to be count 1, count 2, count 4 is where I think there's arguments and people want to say there's no proof of it, but I think they did a very good job at proving it. But if they think this was, no, it was consensual and it was love, as Diddy's defense has put out there, and we've learned some people believe, those are the counts that could be problematic. But I don't see how they can deny 2 and 5. I don't. 3 and 5. The transporting of individuals, not including even Cassie or Jane, for, adult work that was paid activity, adult activity. That to me, Kim, it's like done, clear cut. There's so much proof that proves it.
It's essentially, I believe one of the jury instructions as we get to it to do with this is it's something to the effect of like purchasing a ticket is enough.
Yes.
That's it. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically for that purpose. Like it's, we could get into all of it, but I think that's what's going on. I think that's what's going on.
Yeah, and this isn't Amsterdam, as I just...
Nope.
they do, you're allowed to do it there, right? There's actually parts in Vegas. There are places where it's legal. It is not legal where he was and where he crossed state lines where it was. And it's very clear what he was paying those people for, not their company. That's not absolute nonsense. He's saying that to save face, but they all got caught. Now, notes in the hearing. Throughout the instruction, Diddy was spotted passing notes to his lawyers. His family was behind him. Pictures were taken of them this morning entering the courtroom. Diddy seemed a bit fidgety. I was seen taking off his glasses at times. He even glanced at the jury. It is weird they didn't even at least allow a court photographer in there to get Diddy or some of the non-anonymous witnesses. It's shocking we've gotten nothing from this. It's too much for me. Judge's instructions through CNN and Intercity Press. Judge instructed the jury that they must weigh each witness's credibility. For the RICO specifically, the U.S. must show from 2004 to 2024 there was an agreement between 2 or more individuals for a racketeer enterprise that impacted interstate commerce, that the defendant joined and committed at least 2 predicate acts, as we've talked about previously. The judge said pills, workers, that's 2. Arson, all extortion, keeping her against her will, all that stuff extra. I think they proved it all. Judge said actions may speak louder than words, and they may consider the acts of all those they find to be participants. The people can change. The U.S. alleges 8 predicated kidnapping, arson, bribery. I was trying to say kidnapping and bribery are two another obvious ones to me, but witness tampering, forced labor, SMEX trafficking, for adult work, intent to distribute substances. The U.S. has to prove 2 offenses within 10 years. So everyone's saying they haven't proved RICO. They haven't proved RICO. I don't see how they didn't prove RICO, to be honest, but that was the one. When it comes to the SMEX trafficking, it must be done by, sorry, I'm speaking in weird gibberish. It's YouTube.
We do have to use trigger words, everybody.
They limit
I'm sorry.
us if we say real words. I know it's frustrating, so apologies. I don't mean to make light of it. But it must be done by force. Threats of force, fraud, coercion. Kidnapping does not occur if the victim consented. Consent may be withdrawn. Arson under California law means the conspirator set fire or caused the fire willfully or maliciously. I don't know if they proved he did directly, so that's the only one I could argue. Maybe he clearly told them to, so I guess he did cause it by forcing them to, right? But I could see some saying, well, he didn't. I don't think he actually dropped the thing there, so we'll see.
But I think the question would be, would it have happened without him? Is the question,
but I could just
right?
see someone not understanding that law and being like, well, he didn't really actually do it.
Yeah.
That one's probably the harder, but again, they need two, and there's plenty. Bribery, much clearer, much clearer of a witness under California law requires that a conspirator gave or promised to give a bribe to a person giving or about to give information to law enforcement or to unlawfully influence it. I guess that's also going to be debatable. Like, was the hotel security law enforcement? Cassie's mom and the person who had the tape, was that law enforcement? That's where these legal specifics come into play. For the witness tampering violation, it does not matter if the subject of the threat is in fact fearful. Only a threat is required, but it must be knowing. For forced labor requires use of force or physical restraint. Person may withdraw consent and it may become forced labor, which I do believe Mia also was forced to do.
And they did also clarify as well in the jury instructions when we saw, like when I was reading all the notes of what was being said prior to the closing instructions, that forced labor can absolutely be ST. Mm-hmm. So that is all there. So
right,
this is
if they find him guilty of ST, it all comes to play. Exactly. It's all connected in that way. Here we go. Sorry. And then distribution of substances must be done knowingly and intentionally, which this is a no-brainer. They absolutely do this. Distribution means actual transfer to deliver to another person. Doesn't have to be paid. For possession, physical custody is not needed. Control is enough. That one's a done deal for me.
And this was kind of the frustrating part with the closing argument when you saw Mark Agnifilo kind of go off about, intention to distribute. It was not about intention. Intention does not even come into play here. It's, did you have an illegal substance that you then gave to another person?
Yes, which they absolutely did at the parties.
One is enough. One pill is enough. This has been proven over and over and over and over again in both the cases surrounding Jane and Cassie and separate from them entirely. So it's that one. I agree with you. It's a done deal on that one. I would be very surprised if that does not come back. I will be asking questions at that point.
Yeah, agreed. Now, RICO has a 5-year statute of limitations, so the jury must find that it continued past 2019. That's the cutoff. When it comes to the transport charges, transport means to take or convey from one place to another. Reckless disregard satisfies the statute. It's interesting. So one place transport. But that's from state. It has to be across the state or anywhere.
I believe so. I mean,
so
these are the notes that are coming.
Like he did.
Sorry, yeah. No, these are the notes that are coming specifically from Inner City Press and CNN. Those were the two outlets that I really saw that were doing a lot of reporting this morning, and that was the way that it was worded from them. But I do believe it is across state lines. But I mean, we also saw it across country lines. We saw it everywhere. There were a lot of instances of going from Florida to New York or Florida to California. So I think that is satisfied as well.
Now, the jury must be unanimous, meaning all of them have to agree on at least one specific instance of SMEX trafficking. Now, on counts 3 and 5, knowingly transporting or arranging for the transport of individuals for purpose of an act of adult work, buying or arranging a ticket is enough. This adult work keyword, I'm not saying that starts with a P, does not need to be the main purpose. So there it is. Clearly, they were come out because they did it. They would come out again. They'd come out again. They were clearly putting these people up for the specific act of the act. Now, that is engaging in actual activity for money or its equivalent. You must be unanimous on at least one specific act of transportation with intent to engage in that activity. On venue, the U.S. must prove at least one act occurred in New York as 8 counties. Testimony of government officials are not worth testimony of government officials are not worth or more or less the weight than any other witnesses. Yeah. Witnesses given immunity should be examined with greater than ordinary witnesses. Charts and summaries, demonstrative aids are not evidence and will not be available to the jury room. The
So
defendant
the
has no. That's
timelines,
interesting.
sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, so like the timelines that we saw from the summary witnesses, it doesn't sound like those are going in. However, all of the documents that prove each of those things happened are all going into the jury room with them. So it's just they don't have the nice charts or the demonstratives or like the scrapbook, like that whole discussion, the big chart paper thing that Mark Agnifilo brought out with the picture saying, does this
Yeah.
look like a
All those
racketeering
aides,
thing? That's not coming in.
they don't get to see him again.
No.
The defendant had no responsibility to testify. They do want to make that clear, and he did not. The jury must not attach any significance to that, but they probably will. The judge said that the jury has heard names of people not called. Each side has an equal opportunity to call them. They should not speculate or consider this. That's a good point. Because, well, KK didn't show up. Well, then why didn't Diddy bring her up? Exactly.
Yep.
Any notes jurors took are only for them. No outside reading, as the jury is only to consider what was presented within the four walls of this courtroom. The jury was instructed to not communicate about this case, including on social media. And if they see it, they need to tell the judge's deputy immediately. The judge urged the juries to not be swayed by bias, including implicit bias. These hidden thoughts can impact what we hear and see and how we remember it. With that, the judge then said, you will now retire to consider the case. Each of you must decide the case for himself or herself after deliberating. Your verdict must be unanimous. If you are divided, do not report the specifics. Your foreperson will send out any notes and any verdict. Any communication with the court should be in writing. The alternates do not have to be here, but give your phone number to my deputy. You may be called to replace a juror. You'll be called when a verdict is reached. The judge then instructed the jury to first choose a foreperson and send a note informing the court who that will be. The panel has also been instructed to send a note to notify the court when they've reached a verdict. Please accept my heartfelt gratitude to your service over the past 2 months or more. My deputy will provide my personal contact info. If you could give you a tour, I could give you a tour of the courthouse. The 12 jurors can decide to stay later than 5 to continue deliberating. So it is 12, and yes, they decide, I guess, together what they're going to do. After the jury left, the lawyers began to fight. Government objected to the subject line of a BlackBerry message, like I am so aroused. The defense then said it was common for exhibits to include subject lines. The judge then said, let's only have neutral lists go to the jury. I'll trust the parties to provide an appropriate laptop to the jurors. I'm going to stick around for a bit, but we'll just stay here as long as they wish to deliberate. At the end of the day, we'll bring them in. The judge addressed the lawyers, praising both prosecutors and the defense for great lawyering. Okay, that's him playing nice to avoid an appeal later. I don't think he thought Agnifilo did a great lawyering. The case was really exceptionally tried by both sides, he told the attorneys. He said that he appreciated both sides' cooperation throughout the trial. He also commended the parties for allowing younger attorneys to deal with issues in the case. The lawyers then gave the judge their contact info, and the court was adjourned. Mark asked the Combs if he could take books back to the holding cell while he waits. The request was granted. So there we go, Kim. These counts are really what it's all about. The jury is now in the room deliberating on what they do. I want to hear your thoughts, commenters. What do you think's going to happen, and when?
Maybe we should do a poll. Do you want to do a poll? Yeah, sure. Okay, let's do a poll.
You're gonna do the poll? All right.
Yeah, I can do it.
As you're adding the poll up, what do you guys? I'm curious what you guys think. Again, these are the counts. Racketeering enterprise. Now, remember, as we went through those specifics of the racketeering, kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, ex-trafficking, for adult work, intent to distribute substances. They only need 2 of those to then find count 1 guilty.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. And then obviously the SMEX trafficking, that's another one of Cassie, one of Jane. And then just general transporting individuals, not limited to them for the purposes of that. Well, so 3 and 5, I'm confused. Not limited to Cassie, not limited to Jane. So those are 2 separate counts of it?
Well, I think it's a different time frames is my understanding. As well as it's like Cassie could be involved and Jane could be involved. But if he's
got it. Yeah.
But okay, so if it's an instance with Jane, right? If there is another worker who is brought in, they are included in this incident. So if they brought Paul and they paid Paul to go and hook up with Cassie, he is included in this. He is considered an individual who could be transported. Right? So like what it's saying is that it doesn't have to be the ladies specifically. It can be the other people hired as well.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Sorry, I'm going to keep going.
So all of those, like receipts essentially of the tickets being purchased for specific workers to go across state lines. Just because it's not Jane or it's not Cassie, it doesn't matter. It's about, was somebody brought in that situation.
Got it.
Yeah, I guess we
I'm
probably could do the
changing your
poll and
question
multiple questions.
because
Yeah, please
I'm changing
do.
your question because I want to get more specific on how many charges do you
Yeah.
think he's going to get. So hold on, I'm just adjusting it.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
Guilty
I will say,
on.
while Andy does that, if you guys please make sure you hit that like button. We'd really appreciate it. It makes a big difference for us in the algorithm, lets people know that we're streaming, and we'd love to have people come in. And that's something free for you to do. So I would appreciate it if you could. Also, please make sure you subscribed if you haven't done so already. We are going to be watching this verdict watch, and I'm sure once we get an answer on what the heck is going on here, if there is a verdict that is in, we will let you guys know, and we'll go live at that time as well. So if you got your notifications on, you will be notified as to when that is happening. And I'm sure, I think it'll probably just be whoever gets there first, Andy. We'll just run. We'll just
So I
go.
put it. I put it as to clarify what these options are: guilty on all charges. There's 5 of them, guys, or guilty on 2 of them, as in only transporting or only SMEX trafficking. There's kind of 2 and 2. So those 2, or all 4 of them except racketeering is guilty on 4 of them, or just not guilty at all. I'm curious how where people think it's gonna align out. So either way, yeah, it's very guilty. But there's definitely a 43% all charges. But it looks like there's another 40% of you think he's not going to get all the charges, but will still be guilty. And it looks like that one's bigger now. So yeah, that's what you guys are thinking. Not all charges. He'll be guilty on some of the charges, but not be found guilty on all of them. Interesting. Kim, where do you stand on that? Which, as we wrap up, because we aren't going to be here as long today, just because I have to run somewhere with my kid, and we're not going to get any information till later. But we'll come back if they do. But Kim, what is your guess as we leave with sort of our speculation? What do you think your prediction is?
I feel like when we look at the counts specifically, I think
Sorry
count
to
one.
interrupt you. They're asking this and verify with me too. No, they don't need 2 of the 5. Any guilty count here is time. Anyone they find guilty him of, if they find him only got 1, he's going to jail.
Yeah.
I think each one's 20 years or something. So 1 count keeps him in jail. He just has to be guilty on 1 count to go to jail. When we say only 2, it's the racketeering subcharges within racketeering. There's like 8 things. He has to be guilty of 2 of those to then be guilty of count 1. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure I clarify that.
No,
but go ahead, Kim. You were saying, what do you think he's going to get?
Yeah, so I think with count one, I am confident that they have found 2 predicates of RICO, specifically even just with substance distribution. I feel like that was proven on multiple occasions. And at that point, that's it, you're done. I also feel like ST is under that. I am confident that with count 2, I think Cassie Ventura's ST will be found. He will be found guilty on that, because what they have to agree on is one instance where they believe that she was forced into doing these activities without her consent and by threats of force, coercion, or fraud. And I'm sorry, we have the tape. We have the tape of her trying to leave and then force being used against her to try to get her to go back. So to me, that is, I don't know how you can fight that at that time. I don't care if she took a cell phone. I don't think that matters. And we also have other witnesses from that day confirming that type of thing was going on. So, and the coercion and the force also continued when he, followed her, home, like all those types of things. So I think count 2 is good. Count 3, count 5, the transportation of individuals, I think is done. I think that one is pretty clear. Now, where I am unsure is count 4, because count 4, they have to decide that they believe Jane. And Jane is a complicated case. And as much as I personally believe that she was ST'd, I see the arguments that some people have. I don't agree with them, but I'm saying that I see them. She is very much based on what we have heard from her, she does care a lot about Diddy. She still does. She does love him. Does that mean that she consented? Different conversation. So I feel like the big one up in the air right now for me is count 4, but I feel like the other ones have a really good shot. That's where I stand on that. What about you?
Yeah. Hold on. I think our stream, for some reason, there was a streaming. Oh, are we back?
Are we back?
Are we guys still live? Sorry if I lost you. YouTube is telling me there's not enough. Is it still working? Okay. I think we're good. I'm getting an error in my studio saying there's not enough bandwidth, but there should be. So let me know if we go out. If we do, just pause. We'll come right back. Sorry. Apologies.
Okay. I do just want to answer quickly. Shaz777 just asked, why isn't Mia included in the counts? Because Mia wasn't included in the counts of ST. What Mia's testimony was about was explaining the RICO. It was about showing the distribution. It was about showing forced labor. It was all of those things. Mia was adding to those. So that's why. I think one of the things I see as a constant source of misinformation is people that are going on like, well, where are the minors? Where is the this? Where is the that? And it's like, they're not in the charges for the federal indictment. And I see, like, you see a lot of people that are making these assumptions that, you know, they didn't talk about this, they didn't talk about this, so this is stupid or whatever. And it's like, they have to prove things that they have hard evidence for. And so much of what we've seen with these counts is paperwork, money, bookings, reports, reservations, like all this stuff. Like, that's how the feds work. They work through the paperwork, they work through the numbers, they work through the money. And some of that stuff, if they don't have the allegations, that they don't have the money to back it up, if they don't have the paper trail to back it up, that can make it more difficult. So I think that's a big part of it. And it's what we need to focus on right now is what we've had on screen earlier. I know we don't at this moment, I don't think, but the counts. This is what matters. The counts. I'm sure there are other things that Diddy has done in his life that are wrong. Okay. We're not saying that this is everything, but this is what's important to this case. This is what is in the federal indictment.
Yep. And yeah, sorry. All I can think of now is the count from Sesame Street. Diddy's going to be guilty on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counts against Diddy. Oh man.
Hold on to your butts.
Got to try to be a little funny because it's brutal if you don't. Well, the jury is in deliberation. We are now on verdict watch. Kim and I will be keeping you updated as soon as we get information. You are not going to miss it. So make sure, verify you're still subscribed. And while you're doing that, hit the subscribe, but hit the bell to all alerts. That way you'll get notified when our video's up. When we get the jury back, we will notify you. You'll get that alert from us so you can watch us live with the verdict. Watch us be happy, sad, confused. You're going to want to watch it with somebody, so make sure you hit that bell. You can also join over on PopcornedPlanet.com. We are subbing over from our Patreon to our new personal website. We will be making sure to post an update there as well. Sometimes the YouTube algorithm doesn't send you the alerts, weirdly enough. But if you head on over to PopcornedPlanet.com, we'll make sure, and if you're a member over there, we'll make sure you get a post as well to alert you that things are coming. That's our new place to get information. Head on over to Planeteers Only. Head on over to the news feed. Sign up today, free or paid. We'll make sure you guys get those notifications as well as other exclusive documentaries, premium shows, full replays of our lives, and so much more. Also, make sure you support It's Kim over on YouTube. One word, go give her a follow and tip her a coffee, whatever. We appreciate all you guys who have been supporting. This case is not over. It's getting close, but we will be here covering it throughout the whole thing. So stay tuned here on Popcorn Planet.